and welcome to Let's Talk. I'm your host, Scott. It's good to see you. We're glad you're tuning in. We hope you continue to tune in. If you like what you see, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, share us on Facebook, Twitter, all of your social media. Normally we would do this at the end, but today we decided to do it at the beginning. And I think when we get into our subject of talk, you'll see why we decided to do that. There was a lot of things going on in the news. Originally planned for the main talk was going to be faith-based films, but then Thursday happened. And I feel because in this show, even though we're still a young show, we're into our 4th episode now, one of the things that our goal has been is to keep up on things going on in this country and around the world, and trying to see how we as people, as Christians, as the church, can respond to them, how we should respond to them, and how we should put common sense back into this country and back into the church. And Thursday, as many of you know, we had another mass shooting. This time at a campus in Roseburg, Oregon. And there's a lot of things coming out about this shooting. And we need to take some time and think about these things. And we need to first of all realize, even though we're going to hear it, and we're going to hear certain people begin to try to proclaim that this is a war on Christianity, I do not believe that this is a war on Christianity. And I could go into this in depth and take up 10-15 minutes just talking about that subject alone. Yet that is not the goal for this episode. That is not the goal of this. I will just simply say I do not believe that there is a war being declared on Christianity in this country at this time. I do believe that we have a lot of questions to ask. This is becoming too common in this country. Not just mass shootings, but shootings in general. We're going to hear a lot of politicians, a lot of gun rights and gun control people begin to make a lot of noise. We already have our president who's come out, made a statement on how we need to have tighter gun control, how we need to outlaw certain guns, we need to restrain this. We've heard a lot of that talk. We've heard a lot of talk on mental health. And this is all good conversations, yet these are not the things that we're going to talk about today. I've come to the conclusion that we can have as much gun control or more, and that's not going to stop the problem. We can try to help mental health, but that will not stop the problem. We have a societal problem. We have to ask ourselves as a society, as people, as human beings in this country, we have to begin to ask ourselves some very hard questions. We have to begin to look beyond the laws, beyond the mental health, because there are some resounding things about all of these shootings, about all of this. Let's step back and not even just say the mass shootings, such as what took place on campus, or that took place a few months back at a church. We have to ask as a society, because let's begin to look at some things. What have we heard in the news, and the majority of the news, in the last year to year and a half? We have heard about police shootings. we've heard of people just driving by and shooting police officers, and police officers shooting people. And don't misunderstand. I understand that our law enforcement, there is time and place where they have to use deadly force. And yet, two circumstances pop up where I am questioning why deadly force was used. And I am not going to mention them here on this show. This is not the point of today's episode. The point is, let us begin to ask some really hard questions. Let's begin to search and do some soul searching. What has happened in a society, our civilized society here in this country, that people are beginning to lose hope? Hope in the government, hope in themselves, hope in mankind, hope all together. What has caused this loss? Why? But even more, with this loss of hope, why have we loss of value of life? I don't care what color you are, where you come from. Life is life, and it is valuable. And yet, we have people going around who have little to no value for their lives and for the lives of others, who are going around and their complaint is, we're doing social justice, I am not communicating with people, people don't like me, so I am going to shoot them. We have to ask ourselves, what has brought ourselves to this point? What has brought this country to a point where we just don't value life very much? We don't respect people very much. We're at a point where we need to do some soul searching. These are not easy questions to answer. I don't have the answers. Some will say, well, it's easy. It's easy to answer, Scott. These are easy questions. Well, we can tell you. Let's point back to the 80s when movies started to just be violent and video games and things like that. But is that really the answer? Is it video games? Is it movies? Is it when the Supreme Court said that abortions are legal? Is this the reason? And if so, why have we come to a point that our entertainment is watching, playing these games? Is this the reason? Maybe so. Or is the reason that we have stopped treating people with respect? We have begun to care more about ourselves. We have become egocentric. Life is about us, and if we're not getting what we want, it is somebody else's fault, and I am angry and I am mad, and so I am going to take others out. What do we do? How do we fix this problem? Why does it seem there are so many angry people out there? Have we noticed? There are people out there that if you look at it, they appear to want to cause culture wars. There are people out there who want to make a race war, who want to make religious wars, who want to create division among others. Is this who we are becoming? Can we not begin to live life in a different way? Can we not begin to teach our children, our teenagers, our young adults to value one another, to not degrade, to not belittle, to not just look at someone and say, I don't like you because of the way you look. I don't like you because of what you wear. I don't like you because of what you do. Is this who we want to be? Or do we want to become a nation that is better than that? We're a melting pot. We have all kinds of people in this country. And I'm not saying that we all have to be best friends, that we have to invite everybody over to our house to have dinner. But let's begin to treat people with respect. Let's begin to listen to people. Let's begin to try to help people. As I sit here, I think that the majority of this country desires to see us become better people. That the majority of the church is not what we see on the news. That the things that we see on the news are the radical people, or the people that are out there wanting to cause trouble. Or the people that are desiring to cause problems. But let us take a step back. Let us take a deep breath. Let us take a look at some words here that Christ said in Luke chapter 6, 23 through 42. Christ said, "But if you are willing to listen, I say love your enemies. Do good to those who hate you. Pray for the happiness of those who curse you. Pray for those who hurt you. If someone slaps you on one cheek, turn the other cheek. If someone demands your coat, offer your shirt also. Give what you have to anyone who asks you for it. And when things are taken away from you, don't try to get them back. Do for others as you would like them to do for you. Do you think you deserve credit merely for loving those who love you? Even the sinners do that. And if you do good only to those who do good to you, is that so wonderful? Even sinners do that much. And if you lend money to those who can repay you, what good is that? Even sinners will lend to those to their own kind for full return. Love your enemies. Do good to them. Lend to them. And don't be concerned that they might not repay you. Then your reward in heaven will be very great, and you will truly be acting as children of the Most High God. For He is kind to the unthankful and to those who are wicked. You must be compassionate, just as your Father is compassionate. Stop judging others, and you will not be judged. Stop criticizing others, or it will all come back on you. If you forgive others, you will be forgiven. If you give, you will receive your gift in return in full measure. Pressed down, shaken together, make room for more, and running over. Whatever measure you use for giving, large or small, it will be used to measure to be given back to you. If we take these words, maybe you're not a believer, but listen to these words. Maybe you say, well, I don't believe that Christ was the Son of God. But take these words and think about them. Can we become a society that instead of hating people, instead of hating others just because they're a little different than us, just because they like things that we don't like, can we just begin to say, we have to be compassionate. We have to listen. We have to give time to those that others aren't giving time to. We have to take time, we have to teach, and we have to show people. We have to show people who Christ is in our actions. We, church, we have to be different. I may not agree with the Pope and all of his theology, and I may not agree with the Pope and all of his political views, but this week the Pope met with some friends of his. Not very newsworthy, is it? But this was newsworthy because these friends were gay. He didn't call them over to try to change their mind on things. He called them over because this has been a personal friend of his for a long time. We can learn from this. Yes, these men have very different ideas on things. These men don't agree on certain things, and yet they were friends. And yet it would appear to me that we've come to a point in this society where certain people will tell us if we have differing opinions, differing thoughts, differing ideas, we cannot be friends. We have to isolate ourselves. We have to go to war over different opinions, ideas, and thoughts. What if we as a church, and I'm not saying that we accept sin and that we say sin is okay, but we accept people for who they are. We show them love. We show them who Christ is. And we allow God to do the work that He needs to do in their hearts. And we allow God to convict. And we stop judging and we stop worrying about what they're doing. And we begin to be more concerned about what we are doing as Christians, as people. It is so easy to criticize, to judge, to belittle, and to mock people. But what if we as Christians and as a society begin to lift people up and begin to say, yes, we're different, we're a melting pot, and we can learn from one another. We can learn to love. We can learn to enjoy some new things. Things that we never thought we would enjoy. You remember as a child, you may remember as a child that there are certain foods you did not enjoy to eat. And you thought, I will never enjoy those, and I will never ever eat asparagus because it's green and it looks like a stem off of a tree, and now you love asparagus. You think it's great. What if we begin to think about people and say, you know, I just need to talk to people. I need to communicate with people. I need to be friends with more people. And I need to share the love and show human kindness to people. And this has been Let's Talk. It's been a little more serious than most. And we're going to end it on this thought today. What can we do in our daily lives to improve somebody else's life? Thank you, and goodbye.